If you are a midlife woman or you're coming up on this powerful season of growth, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to Unraveling Together. I'm Samantha Graber, also known as Dr. Sam, seasoned holistic health physician and woman in the midst of midlife's unraveling. Unraveling Together is a place we talk about the things we just don't talk about, but so desperately need to as women. Together we untangle ourselves from our pasts and weave a beautiful web for a future we so deeply desire to bring to life. Grab a cup of chai, water, tea, or joe, and let's get to it. How do we go about separating ourselves from our pasts? Those parts of our lives that we want to leave in the past so we can take the lesson, yet leave the pain experienced. This is a question we answer together when you choose me as a sage guide along your journey. Whether you purchase my upcoming book or join the Unraveling Together co-working space, we start with the foundation of what got us here now. I've been to the metaphorical mountaintop and traversed my own tough path on the way up as well as the way down. Though I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, you'll never find me in the position of telling you what you should do. I won't should on you. No matter the means by which we work together, I simply share my unraveling experience. You take what resonates and leave the rest. I share with you what I did to untangle myself from the experiences in my past. These experiences kept me weighed down. I had a heaviness to me that I never realized existed until I left my past where it belonged, squarely in the past. For the longest time, I hadn't realized just how unable I was to be truly present in my life. I was numb for years, decades. Oh, the things I missed, even when I was physically present. I carried guilt for a long time until that too had to go. I just can't keep lugging this shit around. No more. Now, this previously unacknowledged weight contributed to my destructive habit of beating myself up on a continual basis because I wasn't enjoying life like I should. Lather, rinse, repeat. But seriously, how could I enjoy life? I was too busy trying to do all the things I should do and fill all the roles I should fill. Let's be real. Most people opt to go with the flow, and I can understand why. Digging up the past is not easy on any level. Let's unpack that phrase for a moment. Digging up the past. It implies in a way that the past was just laying there minding its own business when we came along and disturbed it. As if. The past, acknowledged or not, weaves its sticky tendrils throughout every facet of our lives in the now. In fact, we bring it along in everything we do, everywhere we go. There are many ways to give some structure to this concept. Let's suffice it to say that unless and until we bring our past into the light, 100% open to listening to what we are trying to tell ourselves by holding on to it, we will be run by past thought patterns, reactions, and actions. This sticky trio operates in the background. Consider it your autopilot. Many people get caught up in the groupthink mentality and are just fine with defaulting to the masses for their opinion. They don't buck the system, nor do they question much of anything. These gals planted their flag in camp status quo eons ago, and honestly, they are A-okay with that. Are you one of them? It's totally fine if you are. There is no shame in your game. Own it. Now, if you're the kind of person I write for, you are interested in growing as a person. You are committed to what I've heard called canny, which is constant and never-ending improvement. Your mindset is a stark contrast from that of the person who boasts the mantra, I am who I am, no sense in changing now. If you are someone that wants to do a deeper dive into the goodness of life versus one who simply splashes around on the surface, you are someone who will jive with my vibe and a person who is primed for a midlife unraveling. The most important question that you will have to ask yourself at the beginning of your unraveling is, why? Why are you doing this? Really think about it. The answer that you give is one that has to last you the majority of your life. So the answer better be good. Real good. Stick to the ribs kind of good. It has to be so good that you won't falter even at the worst of times. Staying focused and driven to reach your goals, ultimately finding your North Star, will require you to examine your thoughts, mindsets, and actions intimately. And to take this on, you will need to essentially rewire your brain. Cool thing about that is that you can. It used to be groupthink that our brain was fixed. We now know that is inaccurate. We don't have to live in the past. We can live in the now and refine our skills as we live our lives. No guru required. Though we can each access this ability to rewire our brain, if we've never undertaken a holistic self-examination or have struggled with some aspect of personal development before and haven't quite moved past it, how are you going to do this? How can you get into the self-actualization zone and stay there all the time, no matter what? First off, there is no being in the zone 24/7, 365. Please don't put that level of pressure on yourself. And secondly, finding the zone and staying there day after day, month after month, year after year is an impossibility. So you can cross that item to stress about off your list as well. With those 2 points in mind, you can see exactly why your answer to why you're undertaking an unraveling is critical. To see through to fruition a proactive unraveling, you must embody a spirit of rebellion, creation, cultivation, as well as an unwavering sense of personal commitment to pursuing your life's meaning, or purpose, if you will. You must strategically pursue the edge. Now, I'm finalizing edits on my latest book. It was written for this very purpose. I named it The Unraveler's Edge. A rebellious woman's guide to tapping into boundless energy, uncovering your inner drive, and cultivating the grit to fully evolve during perimenopause. And I didn't name it that for nothing. Let's mount an inner rebellion. I don't talk about my community being chock full of rebellious midlife women without earning that title. We are Gen Xers, and we know how to mount a rebellion. We've been perfecting our rebel yell for decades. You bet that's a nod to Billy Idol. What Gen Xer didn't love him when we were coming of age? Now, rebellious women of all ages are welcome. I just want to put that out there as a little caveat. My rebellion began in the mid to late 80s when on any given Saturday night you would find me glowing in the dark while riding a wave of Aquanet fumes. I spent the vast majority of my weekends yelling at the top of my lungs with hundreds of my closest friends. Those were the days. See, we are a collective of women in hot pursuit of reclaiming our health and our inner truth. We want a holistic, more natural approach than the here, take this mentality of conventional medicine. We are curious and quite rebellious when measured against the status quo. You have to channel your inner rebel to wade through the muck and the BS conventional wisdom slings at us in midlife. Heck, our entire life. They disguise it as beauty, anti-aging, and other buzz terms, but we're onto their shenanigans, and we're not buying what they are selling. I specify rebellious because you have to be a little rebellious to buck the system and step out from the shadows cast by the ever ubiquitous status quo. Channeling one's inner rebel is challenging for most. I am a rebel whisperer. She's in there, I promise. She's just been silenced over time and weakened because she's been starved of oxygen, and everyone knows a good fire needs oxygen to grow. Now, it's not oxygen in the molecular sense, mind you. This oxygen is whatever it is that gives you that spring in your step, that reason for doing the tough stuff, that reward for a life well lived. We've been constantly told to be nice, don't buck the system, don't speak too loudly, and a whole mess of other messages that have resulted in us losing our footing along with our direction, losing sight of what lights us up in life. This is where your community comes in. Who's in your community? I'll tell you a little bit about the one I'm cultivating. The Unraveling Together community is built upon the foundation that women are stronger together. When it comes to doing the inner work in midlife, we do it collectively to harness that strength. Unravelers are willing to roll up their sleeves, wade into the uncomfortable, and do the work. The sense of unrest amplified at midlife isn't only in our thoughts and emotions. It is felt at a cellular level. We've accumulated toxins, depleted nutrients, and ignored our own cries for help. These cries come from our heart, our mind, and our body. Unraveling Together is the place we talk about the things we just don't talk about, especially as women. Unraveling Together is an info hub and online co-working space focused on issues affecting women in perimenopause and beyond. Unravelers are encouraged to do the work for themselves, but are never by themselves as they do it. When you are in need of an assist, you have all of us right there alongside you. The bottom line on every single topic we work through together: ending the war with our bodies. It's time. There's one overriding common trait amongst those of us who channel our inner rebel. We are unable to blindly accept the status quo at any and all levels. We are unwilling to conform to standards set by others. We push ourselves past these set boundaries. It is this spirit that allows us to face a plethora of problems head-on while recognizing solutions to said problems. This spirit illuminates the opportunities that present themselves as well. It is this same spirit that allows us to rise above the fear of failure and overcome doubts. It allows us to improvise, innovate, invent, and create new paths both personally and professionally where none previously existed. An inner rebel is steeped in the undying belief in one's own ability. She has the resolute belief that we all have a role to play in shaping society through the creation of solutions for some of life's most common problems. Whether creating the solution or supporting those who do, we put our resources where our mouths are. Whether in a for-profit situation or a not-for-profit, we know that collectively we can address what needs to be addressed to get to the heart of an issue instead of shellacking the surface in the pursuit of vanity metrics. Most of the qualities that unravelers possess are the manifestation of our inner rebel. When faced with a problem, we will exercise resourcefulness. When faced with a situation that we can't immediately control, an unraveler perseveres. Saturday, September 17th, 2022 marks the opening of our online co-working space. Though each of us is on our own journey, we are walking alongside one another through the co-working model. If you're a woman in hot pursuit of reclaiming your health as well as your inner truth, please consider this your invitation to join us. Until next time, take good care of yourself and each other. Thank you for joining me on the Unraveling Together podcast. I'd love to turn this thing we've got into a dialogue. Follow me on LinkedIn at Dr. Sam Graber, where we can have conversations about all things midlife, perimenopause, and finding meaning through it all. If you want a deeper dive into exploring your midlife experience, consider joining the Unraveling Together community of rebellious midlife women. It is there that we roll up our sleeves and do the work. Unraveling Together is a resource hub, roadmap, and online coaching community curated by yours truly. We are navigating this time called midlife together, for we truly believe we are stronger together. And when unravelers are in need of an assist, they have all of us there alongside them.